My name is Yang. In his Democratic Vistas, published in 1871, Walt Whitman said that the cause of democracy is sometimes aided not by the best men only, but sometimes more by those that provoke it, by the combats they arouse. He did not mind a little healthy rudeness, what many people today would call the politically incorrect. However, this what he foresaw as an exhilarating adventure has been replaced by the up and down of a delicate, quote-unquote, democratic experiment, with words in recent decades associated with liberal democracy shifted from the triumphant to the fatalistic, overstretched, setback, fragility, rise and fall. So my question is, what do you think of the health of free speech on campus as a barometer of the health of democracy at large? And in the spirit of Whitman, how to strike a balance between paying due respect to the concrete contours of reality and giving enough space to that healthy, productive rudeness?
Well, one of the things that I also is on my to-do list is that we have to learn to have civil discussions with people that we disagree with. And I think that that is a part that is, one, essential for democracy, but certainly essential at a university setting. And therefore, I do believe in the importance of listening to people that I disagree with. By the way, when I teach, I say to people, you all know I'm a card-carrying Democrat, and I want you to disagree with me. And I do think that part of what has to happen is to encourage civil disagreement and try to figure out what the other person is saying and why. And therefore, I do believe that more than any other place, that on campuses there needs to be that sense that we welcome discussions that are carried on in a civil way. I'm opposed to violence, but I do think that what we really need to do is have the possibility to have that discussion, and that it strengthens democracy in that particular way. And I do think that it helps us all to be pushed and to have our thinking disrupted. I think that is a very important part of democracy.
Thank you.
Earlier, we had, and I'm sure there were people on different sides of this issue here, we had Corey Lewandowski here last week. That engendered a protest outside the meeting, also part of our democracy and important. But there were, there's a lot of anger and a lot of rage about what this administration is doing, and the sense that don't have anybody associated with him, because then you're normalizing the administration. And I have a different view, but I'm interested in yours.
Look, I don't like bigots and bullies. I just want to point that out. I'm against bigots, I'm against bullies. So just leave that as it is.
Those who like bigots and bullies, raise your...
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to say I got tough talk for my liberal colleagues on these campuses. And they don't tend to like it, but they tend to like me, so I can get away with it. So I'm going to keep trying to push.
Let's test the proposition.
Exactly. I want to push this. There are two ideas about safe spaces. One is a very good idea, and one is a terrible idea. The idea of being physically safe on a campus, not being subjected to sexual harassment and physical abuse or something like that, or being targeted specifically personally for some kind of hate speech, you are an N-word or whatever, perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. But there's another view that is now, I think, ascendant, which I think is just a horrible view, which is that I need to be safe ideologically. I need to be safe emotionally. I just need to feel good all the time. And if someone says something that I don't like, that is a problem for everybody else, including the administration. And I think that is a terrible idea for the following reason. I don't want you to be safe ideologically. I don't want you to be safe emotionally. I want you to be strong. That's different. I'm not going to pave the jungle for you. Put on some boots and learn how to deal with adversity. I'm not going to take all the weights out of the gym. That's the whole point of the gym. This is the gym. You can't live on a campus where people say stuff you don't like, and these people can't fire you. They can't arrest you. They can't beat you up. They can just say stuff you don't like, and you get to say stuff back. And this you cannot bear. This is ridiculous BS liberals. My parents and Monica Elizabeth Peake's parents, hello Monica, were marched. They dealt with fire hoses. They dealt with dogs. They dealt with beatings. You can't deal with a mean tweet? You are creating a kind of liberalism that the minute it crosses the street into the real world is not just useless, but obnoxious and dangerous. I want you to be offended every single day on this campus. I want you to be deeply aggrieved and offended and upset, and then to learn how to speak back. Because that's what we need from you in these communities.
I have nothing to add.
You should see him when he gets passionate.
A major criticism you hear among some black leaders, among some black politicians and activists these days, is the way in which so-called wokeness and call-out culture, quote unquote, have become substitutes for genuine action, for social movements that you yourself have always believed are necessary for change. Do you share that criticism? It's come from different corners, from people associated with Black Lives Matter, from Barack Obama, from other people saying, you have to get out there. It can't just be, you know, going on Twitter and calling people out. Do you agree with that criticism, or do you think it's unfair?
Well, I think the first thing to say is fundamentally it's not about identity, it's about solidarity. It's not about your skin pigmentation, it's about the quality of your courage connected to poor and working people. I don't believe in canceling anybody. I mean, Christians don't believe in canceling people. Everybody can bounce back. I believe everybody's a brother and sister, and they have the capacity to be changed and transformed. So I don't believe in canceling anybody whatsoever. But I do, in fact, say that when we talk about wokeness, I'm not talking about just being woke, because you can be obsessed with wokeness and suffer from insomnia. I'm talking about being fortified. Are you a fighter in the long run? We don't want people woke and sprinters and run out of gas, and the next thing you know, they end up well-adjusted to injustice, just like so much of the bourgeoisies, no matter what color they are. Middle-class folks that just can't wait to be engaged in upward mobility in order to go mainstream and become a new star with all the spectacle and overlook what's going on the ground of people who are suffering. That's not the model. The model is Martin King, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Ella Baker. What are they talking about? Fortified. Are you fortified for the long run? Do you have your cemetery clothes on? Are you coffin ready to live and die for something bigger than you, like a fundamental transformation of a capitalist civilization? That's my tradition.